Hello everyone, Dog here, and in the spirit of my usual antics, here's a video poking fun at my new main, Warden. In the same way I ranted about Abrams, I think Warden is actually crazy right now. I would not say broken, but I would definitely say really strong. If you don't believe me, check the current Warden win rate over the last 7 days, or even just the front page of Deadlock tracker. Warden is currently sitting at 53.2% at best in the game, but going deeper, he is actually at 55.6% over the last 7 days, and fluctuating somewhere between 61.9% to 52.3%. This shows that he is at least a good pick in the game, but why? What is making Warden so good right now? And well, that's the reason I'm making the video. Again, my name is Dog, and this is why I think Warden is probably one of the best characters in the game right now, excluding Hayes. So one of the first reasons why I think Warden is so busted right now is his kit. I cannot help but feel like it is really effective at killing and ganking throughout the whole game, and for those who are unfamiliar, this is his general kit. His one ability is an AoE grenade called Alchemical Flask that aims to do damage and remove stamina from an opponent. His 2 ability, Willpower, grants Spirit Shield and at tier 1 upgrade adds moving speed. It's his defense ability for a character that doesn't get too much passive healing. His 3 ability, Binding Word, is his crowd control tool. He chooses anybody he wants within a 20-meter range and basically Jujutsu Kaisen bounding vows their ass in place for 1.75 seconds if they do not escape the 19-meter range within 2.8 seconds, which can happen if you do not have enough stamina or any movement left. His 4 ability / ultimate, Last Stand, is essentially Torment Pulse, but you can heal from it. It does more damage and it has a cone of AoE in front of you, so it's pretty good. Now, on paper, this kit is not that busted, but in practice, this kit is extremely powerful at killing people, almost exceedingly so. The thing is, bounding somebody in place almost guarantees a kill every time, or at least guarantees a shit ton of damage, because staying still for 1.75 seconds almost always leads to you getting hit in the head by one of the most damaging headshot bullet for bullet characters in the game, at least in the early game, being Warden. Of course, anybody could just leave the range, but that's where Alchemical Flask comes in. Alchemical Flask has one of the nastiest ranges for an ability I think I've ever seen. When I miss it, it really feels like it's all my fault, and when I hit it, it doesn't feel like I deserve it. Alchemical Flask's range is bonkers because of how deceptively large it is. It's 7 meters, and it's based on whether or not a particle hits you. This means that if Warden just hits the wall that's 7 meters away from you, it's Jover. You're already gonna get hit. Even if you are behind a corner, it's just a smidgen of your body is out, and you're getting hit with that minus stamina and 115 damage. That's up to the tier 2 upgrade, by the way. So, now you have no stam, you are being bound-worded by a man with a gun that hits like a truck if he hits you in the head, and he has Spirit Shield, and he has an ultimate that covers his main healing weakness. It's no wonder that Warden just feels so absolutely bonkers to play against, because he has so many ways to kill you, and his kit is relatively easy to learn as soon as you get used to pressing the buttons in order of 1, 3, maybe 2, and then a 4 if there's more than one person, or if you really just want that extra healing. Now, every character in the game has a combo, so you can't just tell me, oh well, then that's the learning curve, because it's not that hard of a learning curve. So you may be thinking, yes, his kit is really good at locking people down and touching them vigorously, but it has its own drawbacks. What exactly gives him this 61.9% to 52% win rate? Well, other than the fact that you can buy other things like Slowing Hex and Knockdown to make yourself into a crowd control monster early game, there's a second point that I think is a tad more important and might point to exactly why Warden is so busted right now. My second point in this video is the November 22 healing rebalance. This patch significantly lowered a lot of heroes' abilities to heal a shit ton of damage fast as a way to even the playing field for all the heroes. They even got Warden with this, nerfing his healing from his ultimate, but the thing is, Warden never really relied on his ultimate for a constant point of healing. Warden doesn't have good sustain, and it will always be like that. He has always relied on items, not abilities, to give him the survivability he needs. This means that Warden now does the same damage as before the patch, but now other heroes simply can't heal it off anymore. Maybe this was the only thing holding Warden back, was that people could heal back the immense damage he dealt from bounding them to the floor and then shooting him in the head. But now they can't, and it feels like Warden hits like a fucking truck, more than ever. His combos feel so nasty now with the 2 and then the slowing hex and then the alchemical flask and then the binding word. It just feels like so much, and then he bounds you to the floor, shoots you again in the head, and then you start moving, but then he alchemical flasks you and now you have no stam again, and then he slowing hexes you again, and it's just a constant wheel of pain. He's one of the best 1v1ers right now and possibly even a great team fighter. In my opinion, his ultimate, despite being nerfed, is still absolutely bonkers in the team fight because it gives him the sustain he needs to hit his alchemical flask and binding word combo on multiple people if he feels like it. This gives Warden insane damage potential from early to late game, which is a crazy thing to say because no character should be this good from the start and to the finish. He's simply just a great character right now, and it's bonkers having to deal with the alchemical flask, slowing hex, and then binding word combo that he does. Maybe even slowing hex first, but that doesn't matter. The point is you hit all 3 of them and it's Jover. That person is dead, and more often than not, you can do it because slowing hex stops movement abilities as well, which just completely negates anything, any chance of them escaping from this bounding that's going to result in a pounding. Like, it's crazy having to play against the Warden in these games. And ultimately, I think that's it. I think having to deal with all of these things about Warden being able to just kill you, knock you down, and just stop you from moving is just a whole new playing field for him to mess with, because now nobody can just out-heal what he does. It's really hard to out-heal how much damage Warden does now, especially if you follow like Deathy's build that's all gun damage and headshot booster. It's actually crazy. But that doesn't mean that I think he's broken necessarily. I don't think he needs a massive change. I just think that everyone else just needs to start changing their game, because maybe right now the reason he has such a high ass win rate is because people aren't used to the new patch yet and aren't used to being this squishy in compared to before, at least. Because okay, Monkrell literally is kind of the same. The Scorn healing is still a shit ton, so I don't really know. And there are like a bunch of characters that I feel like whose healing hasn't really changed too much. Like Abrams obviously has changed a lot, but he still is a tanky motherfucker, so I don't really know. But digressing, this is what makes Warden absolutely crazy right now, is the fact that he can just do all these things and you just can't out-heal them anymore since the November 22 patch. That pretty much does it for the video. I'm sort of ranting towards the end and just babbling a little bit because I really do love this game, and it makes me babble because it's just so crazy how these small changes can result in such a massive overtake on what is meta and what changes. And I get it that if you played Dota and if you played League, you're super used to these changes, but I'm new to this, and I'm sorry if I'm excited, and I'm sorry if my videos are shit because I just go off script and I'm just rambling. But I absolutely adore this game, and I just wanted to poke fun at the fact that I think Warden's busted right now, and people can't really counter him because they're just not used to being squishy. And his kit has always been really good, but it's just completely accentuated by the fact that everyone is more squishy now and just can't out-heal what he does. But although, please, we need to nerf Alchemical Flask range, that is bonkers how good it is. And I know I said bonkers like maybe 5 times in this video, maybe I'll put a counter, but whatever. Thank you for listening to me rant and me babble. This has been another Deadlock thing that I do. Whatever. Yeah, Warden is kind of broken.